Welcome back, guys. So today we are going to discuss my top 10 favorite anime, which is right here. This lot. Right here. Number 10 on my list is The SoulTaker. The SoulTaker is a very short 13-episode anime. Very strange, very dark. Have you ever seen Sin City? Very, very similar to that in stylistic sense. It's a very strange animation style. They use color in a very innovative way, a very imaginative way, and it's really kind of cool. Essentially, it's about this kid named Kyosuke Date who finds out that he is this weird mutant thing. And he finds this out by being stabbed by his mother and then being buried alive, where then he transforms into this weird thing called the SoulTaker. He is in search for his sister, his twin sister, Runa. He finds enemies along the way. I mean, it's relatively generic as far as the storyline is concerned, but the way that they go about it is a very interesting concept. The stylistic, the film noir aspect to the show itself, the characterization, very, very interesting, and makes a generic shonen a very interesting work of art. So, the SoulTaker. Number 9 on my list is Shakugan No Hana. I completely forgot how much I absolutely adored this series until I finally bought it when it was re-released by Funimation recently, and I haven't seen season 2 or season 3 yet. I'm very much looking forward to seeing those seasons. But Shakugan No Hana was a fantastic series. Essentially, it's about this kid who finds out that he's actually dead and barely living, and that these creatures come and take the lives of people. They feed off the lives of people and replace them with these flames, and the flames eventually die out. Then Shauna comes in, and she is a flame haze, and she's basically there to kind of figure out why he's not going away yet. I'm very interested to see where the series actually goes in season 2 and season 3, but as far as right now, season 1, definitely number 9 on my list. Number 8 on my list is the only comedy you will find on this list, and that is Dacoita. I adore Dacoita. Dacoita is basically a parody of itself. It is the parody of the Sentai series. It's a parody of generic shonens. It is absolutely hilarious, but it is about this kid named Suzuo, and he is hired by this police agency to become Dacoita, but it is kind of disguising itself as a toy company, and he's supposed to be wearing this power suit to give it a good review or a bad review, and to save money, the corporation that is doing this has put them all in the same house, so they're supposed to keep their identity secret. He's got rivals, he's got enemies, and it's absolutely hilarious. It's fun to also watch the social commentary of it being that when you don't know who somebody really is, you could actually become friends with somebody, because all of these people in their secret identities are friends outside of their suits, and then when they're in their suits, absolutely all of them fight one another, whether or not they're on the same side or not. Again, very, very short. I think this one's only 12 episodes long. Yeah, 12 episodes long. It's just a great show. Number 7 on my list is Now and Then, Here and There. This is another really short one, 13 episodes. You'll notice that kind of as you go through my favorite animes ever. They're all short series. I have nothing against long series, but short series tend to keep my attention a lot better than long series do. Now and Then, Here and There is probably the most emotional anime I've ever seen in my life. It has made me question life. It has made me question myself. It has made me question the future. It has made me question society. It's a fantastic series. It's about this kid named Shuzo Matsutani, or Shu, as he finds this girl named Lalaru who is wanted by this futuristic dictator tyranny government. He follows them into the future, and in the future it is a bleak earthly future where the sun is starting to expand and has dried up all of the water, all of the land water, and now all that exists left is the underground water supply on Earth. And so water is very scarce, water is very difficult to come by, but Lalaru is wanted because she's got this pendant that can create water. And whoever basically has control of her has control of the world, and Hamdo wants this power. Shu ends up becoming unraveled in Hamdo's child army, where he meets Nabuka, Tabul, and Bu, 3 very different archetypes of children soldiers. Tabul being the one that's all gung-ho, let's do this, and basically a Hamdo mini-me. Nabuka, who isn't quite sure what he's fighting for, and then Bu, who is just too innocent to understand what's really going on. You meet a lot of really colorful characters, and you kind of get this sense of hope. A lot of people give this series a lot of crap because Shu ends up being the same person that he is when he leaves the show, and they say that there's no way that Shu could remain the same person from beginning to end. And I say that it's very possible because the whole show itself is basically Pandora's box, and what was left in Pandora's box but hope. And Shu kind of is that hope within Pandora's box. At least that's the way I view it. That's the way I see it. It's just a great show, and I adore it so very, very much. Number 6 on my list used to be actually number 1. It stayed, I fought for it to stay on my top 5 for the longest time, but that is Trigun. Trigun is one of those series that makes me just kind of want to punch it in the face most days. It starts off being really happy-go-lucky, being really funny, being just really captivating in that sense, and then they kind of turn it on you. If you haven't seen it, who hasn't these days, right? But if you haven't, it is about Vash the Stampede, who is wanted for destroying a city. And so these insurance girls go to kind of figure out what his damage is worth. They kind of get wrapped up into a lot of very episodic adventures, and then you kind of get into the storyline halfway through, the real storyline of why Vash is the way he is and why he's wanted for so much money. Number 5 on my list is Fafner. It is the start of the mecha lovingness of my top favorite anime, even though technically I guess there are mechas in now and then here and there, but that is not the point of the show. But Fafner is essentially about this dystopic society that lives on this land, lives on this island. They are being attacked by these aliens called the Festum. If you've seen Star Trek, they're basically the Borg. They assimilate and they try to make you one of their own. The kids start to pilot these mechas called the Fafners, and little by little they're realizing that the Fafners are slowly killing them from the inside out, basically. And the adults really don't care. The adults just tell them to continue to fight. And it's a really interesting series, a really interesting direction to go, and a very interesting social commentary. I really enjoyed this series. Number 4 on my list, which kind of bumps back and forth with Fafner a lot, is Gundam Seed. It kind of depends on how recently I have watched Seed. Depends on whether or not it is 4 or 5 on my list. I've watched it recently, so I'll stick at number 4 for right now. But Gundam Seed, again, if you guys haven't seen Gundam Seed, it's a shoujo Gundam series. It gets a lot of flack for very obvious things, and things that I kind of agree with. Overused and reused footage, kind of a bland storyline. I'll be honest, I kind of agree, which is why it's where it's at. But the characterization of this show is what's captivated me. I love Athrun. He's my favorite character. Diark is a very close second. Izak is a very close third. As you can tell, I like Team Athrun a lot better than I liked Team Kira. It's a fantastic show, and I really like the characterizations. I like the relationships between characters. I really like the direction that they went. The only thing that I would say they could have done better was, instead of making Destiny what they made Destiny, they could have just elongated Seed and made Seed a 100-episode anime instead of 50 for Seed and 50 for Destiny. Because we'll all admit that Destiny was kind of a failure of a Gundam series. But I still enjoyed it better than some. Number 3 on my list has been on my favorites list since I got into anime. It is what got me into anime, and I still love it to this day, and that is Gundam Wing. A lot of people give this one flack for being slow and boring at the beginning, but really, if you pay close attention to the beginning, you'll understand why most people consider it slow and stuff, because it's very based on the politics. Because the whole point of Gundam Wing is that war is a political venture. A lot of people go into this expecting lots and lots of mecha fights. While there are quite a few mecha fights, they are nowhere near as important to the story as the characterization and the relationships between characters, the relationships between groups of people, and that is why this is an amazing series. Number 2 on my list was number 1 for many years. I watched it all the way through in 2007 when it first aired on Adult Swim. I couldn't watch it again, but it still remained my favorite, and I think it's just because I relied so much on the thriller of the series, but that is Death Note. And I have seen it many times since 2007, but it took me a long time to want to watch it again. I thrived on the thriller. I liked not knowing which direction the show was going. I liked not knowing who was going to live and who was going to die. I kind of assumed certain things, and even one thing was technically spoiled for me, but just not when it happened, so that still caught me by surprise. Which is why I refuse to ever really talk about this storyline, because that is the beauty of the story, is the thriller of it. But essentially it's about a kid who finds a notebook. If you write people's names in it, then they will die. It becomes a cat and mouse game. between Light and L, and it's just a fun ride. Just a fun ride if you don't know what's going on. And number 1 on my list should not be a surprise to anyone. Should not be a surprise, mostly because you can see lots and lots of stuff about it behind me. But that is Gundam Double O. Gundam Double O is not only my favorite Gundam series, but my favorite anime series as a whole. You know, the characterization, the relationships between characters, the overall storyline, absolutely everything about this series is why I love it. The animation is gorgeous, the mecha designs are wonderful, the mecha battles are amazing. This one also gets a lot of flack for the movie, and that is explainable. I'm not going to do it in this video because I don't want any kind of spoilers in this video, but one day, you and I, you know, right here, you and me, Gundam fan who hates Gundam Double O, you and I are going to have a little talk about why what happened in the movie makes sense for the show. Matter of fact, come November, Dylan and I are going to be hosting a panel at Youmacon. We hosted it last year. I've hosted an Anime Detour this year now, and I'm going to film it and put it up. You'll be able to see why I can explain certain things and why it doesn't bother me, that little thing about Gundam Double O. That little thing. So Gundam Double O essentially is about this group of soldiers, kind of guerrilla group of soldiers called Celestial Being, who go about trying to rid the world of violence, rid the world of battle by battling. That logic makes a whole heck of a lot of sense, doesn't it? Essentially it is about them trying to rid the world of violence and of war, and they kind of jumpstart a war. Go figure. You find out somebody's fighting somebody else and you go and fight them both to the death. You're gonna piss people off. And so they do, and war ignites. So they kind of spend the rest of the first season, at least, trying to right what they did wrong. And then season 2 comes with a whole new array of characters and a whole new array of absolutely everything. It's just so good. It's just so good. I love it so very, very much. So that is my top 10 favorite anime, you guys. Please let me know in comments and video responses below what your favorite animes are. If we share some of the same ones, please post in the comments below why you love those series along with me, and we can start a nice little discussion. Also, down below, if there are series that kind of interested you and you haven't seen them and want to see them, I will post links below to where you can watch them legally on the internet for free. I think all of them are available. I think all of them are available online. Post in comments and video responses below your favorite anime list. I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Funk. Don't let it happen to you.
I don't care what you guys have to say about David Tennant or Matt Smith. They are both fantastic actors, fantastic people who play the Doctor.